What's going on, gang? Can y'all hear me? Um,
There you go. I hit the wrong button and didn't do that myself.
oh,
Jackpot. What?
goddamn.
Goddamn, exactly. What's going on, buddy?
I'm not much. How are you doing tonight?
Good. I was working. Hopefully, I got the roboto thing worked out, and we hopefully will have a better, cleaner show this evening.
Good, good, good.
All right. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, including. I think you already made a video about the guy that's suing Billy Napier.
He's not
Do you
only
remember the
suing
days,
Billy Napier, but he's suing Mr. Hathcock.
Mr. Halfcock?
Not Hathcock,
Just,
Hathcock and Mr. Castro. So,
okay. Well,
yeah, he
there you
could be
go.
in line for a lot of cash. You know what I mean?
I think, and Josh Pate said something to the effect of his favorite nugget about it was the family let Kirby Smart know, hey, we're going to sue these people because of whatever, and Kirby Smart gave it his blessing. I have to take a moment and take back all the shitty things I said about Kirby Smart, because with that move right there, I mean, I know he won national titles and all that, but him basically saying, please go kick Billy Napier in the face because I think it would be funny, that made me really happy.
does that
So
now
Kirby Smart's on
quantify
the A
him?
list now.
Does that now
He's
quantify him as a boss with a big swinging ding-a-ling?
he is a favorite in this house. Let's just leave it at that, because he he gave the kid his blessing. Go ahead, sue them. I don't care. You know what that also tells me, though, is that allegedly Florida promised him all this money. Yeah, Georgia doesn't have that problem, because this kid already went to Georgia and's like, okay, you're going to pay me, and no problem, whatever.
David,
That
David
tells me.
Green, David Green, what do you mean by what's up with the poop color, Kale? Explain yourself. Are you talking about the law, the flag? What are you talking about?
You might be talking about your shirt.
My shirt is autumn fuchsia.
Your shirt is autumn fuchsia. Is that what
It's
that
what it
is?
said on the. It's not an orange T-shirt. It's a autumn fuchsia T-shirt. It's what it said on the label when I bought it. Anyway, should I be taking it back and demanding a refund because they lied to me?
I've never heard. I've never thought about that, but okay, good for you, sir. Anyway, I want to put the link out there so people can join the show. If you want to talk about that, the stuff that's going on there, because I think that's just hilarious. And Kirby Smart, I'm now a fan. Now a fan, just because of that. I'm so petty, but that is the ultimate petty thing. He's like, yeah, all right, go ahead, sue. I don't
Well,
care.
here's my thing about it. For one, number one, they lied to him. That was wrong. They should have to pay the price for that. Second, though, on the flip side, and I didn't really think about this when I made the video. This shit all took place like the first quarter of 2023. Why are you just now deciding to sue them? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't.
I mean, why? So, um,
Well,
there
here's
should
the
be
thing,
really
though.
be a statute of limitations on these kind of things, but we don't have any rules on any of this shit. So,
Well, the other thing, though, is that what happens if this kid wins? Because all these coaches out there are promising these kids all kind of shit, and there's a lot of lies and everything that's going out there.
honestly, I don't
So
think it's gonna. I don't think it'll go to trial. I think they're going to settle with him.
right, but I mean, even if they settle, uh, any kid that's been lied to on the recruiting trail, they're going to think, man, I could get me some money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have one settlement, and that's going to be it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you've
Promise
got
me
something
you
in
can do this.
writing and you've got something that's got both signatures on it and God forbid notarized, I mean, you've got a leg to stand on there. Now, if it's just a bunch of he said, she said bullshit, then you're probably not. It's probably not going to go anywhere, or it's not going to gain any traction. But it certainly will if you've got something that can back up your argument. I mean,
Yeah, it's a mess. I mean, I think back to the old it was what was it, the movie The Campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis in it, and Zach Galifianakis's phrase was "grab a broom because it's a mess." That's what this is. I mean, it's going to be anything that you said in the long run. That yeah, we could get you Chick-fil-A. I mean, they're going to sue for shit like that. I mean, that's what's going to happen here. It's going to come down to who's the most petty, in
yeah,
my
yeah.
opinion.
I don't know that movie. I like the cool Will Ferrell movies like Anchorman and Step Brothers. I don't be watching that B list shit that you
Well,
watch.
if you watch The Campaign, sir, I know for Gamecock fans it's hard for you guys to read from left to right, but if you watch The Campaign movie, you would
I don't have a
appreciate it.
problem.
You really would.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem reading from left to right. In fact, a couple of books that I wrote from left to right actually.
What were the books you wrote about, sir? Because I'd like to read those. Are they on Amazon? Can I
Well,
get
I
them?
mean, they were more like book reports, and I did
Oh,
them many years ago, specifically like
so they
more
were
than 35 years ago, but still same
no,
thing.
so they were comic books. Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
books with pictures. Got it. Anyway, we'll take your calls tonight on that. There's the link if you want to join the show.
Blake says something about how about South Carolina beating Arkansas today, jackpot. What in baseball? Don't know nothing about it. Told y'all I'm not watching that shit. I'm not supporting that team until they get rid of that fucking
I
douchebag. And he
I
is
gotta
like
give
somebody made the comment down there, Gamecock Chuck, I think that he just refuses to go away. Yeah, he's like
yeah.
a fucking snake that you're trying to kill in the damn backyard. And it doesn't matter how many times you chop its head off, it still continues to move. That's Mark Kingston. I don't care what he does. He still needs to go. Anybody
Well,
can get lucky.
and that's
And here's the thing, Rob, dude. You think, I mean, maybe Alabama yesterday, okay, that was a good win. Today, you think Arkansas gives a fuck about this SEC tournament? They don't give a fuck.
exactly. Well, and look,
They couldn't give two shits. The only teams that give a fuck about it are the ones who are on the chopping block and are struggling to get into the regionals.
the
And that'll be
tournament,
us.
yeah. Or maybe thinking, I think if let's say the Gamecocks can win the tournament at this juncture, I'm not saying they will, but let's say that they do. They were ranked what 24th. I don't know where they are in the RPI, but if they win the tournament, there's a chance they could get an outside shot as a host. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I'm just saying that's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Just saying it's possible. But
Well, maybe if they put
you
some
know,
kind of stipulation like that to the conference tournaments, like if you win it, you're hosting. I mean, which normally most years the teams that won it would probably be hosting anyway. But maybe maybe it would give it a little bit more. College baseball tournaments are, and college basketball tournaments for that matter, they're
let me.
they're
Oh, by the way,
irrelevant. The only place they're relevant is in as far as the college basketball tournaments is in the lower level, like the ASUN and your Midwestern collegiates and those type of conferences.
can we pivot 1 second here because I want to talk just a second. Someone asked about Clemson and the ACC baseball tournament. The ACC baseball tournament, Clemson's first game is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Now, here's the thing with that. They're in pool play with Miami and Louisville. Miami won on day one over Louisville, right? So the winner of tomorrow's game essentially has won the pool. I'm sorry, if Miami wins tomorrow's game, they've won the pool. That's it. They're moving on to the championship round or whatever.
Listen. Look, here's how fucking dumb the ACC is. I mean, not only do they let in West Coast powers, Stanford, Cal, and SMU to play football and whatever other damn sports they want to play, They let Notre Dame play ball for a year because they didn't have a conference to go to. They're so stupid. People have been bitching about this conference baseball tournament format for at least like since 2016, whenever they started doing it. And why did they refuse to change it? Why did they do it? It
Well,
makes
but
no sense.
here's the shitty thing. Let's say Clemson goes out tomorrow and they drop that game to Miami. They've got to play Louisville on Friday in a game that does not matter at all. Doesn't matter at all. Clemson's already a projected top 5, top 6 seed, regardless of wherever you look. But it's just stupid. Now we'll see if Coach Badich has the is like, all right, I want to try to win the ACC tournament. If he does, then he'll run out his guys tomorrow and try to beat Miami. If not, me personally, I would run out my freshmen, let them get some experience, and wait for next week. Because what do you gain from wearing out your pitchers in this ACC tournament when you're already at worst you're going to drop to an 8 seed? It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't.
No.
But whatever. Back when South Carolina was winning national titles, they didn't give two shits about the SEC tournament. It was
No,
two and
they never won. They've only won one. You know that?
right. Yeah. I mean, and they've had the teams to win several. Let's be honest. But when they were in championship mode, they they didn't give a shit about Hoover.
You want to know who's won? Who do you think's won the most SEC baseball tournaments?
I would venture to say Georgia.
No, it's LSU. It won 12.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Georgia's got a couple, a little bit too, but
I think Mizzou, Kentucky, and then there's somebody else that won 0.
Texas
South
A&M.
Carolina, South Carolina won 1.
Texas A&M's never won it, right?
That might be yeah. No, I think they won 1. They won 1.
Okay. I don't know enough about that. I know that Georgia had some teams before that they could have been right there in the mix. But here's the thing: once again, no one gives a shit about that SEC tournament. All we care about
Fireball.
is
I
the
think
next
they've
week.
won. They've won. Vandy was won either like 5 or 7. I can't remember what number. I want to say 5.
SEC. I'm looking for it now. SEC baseball tournament winners.
Oh, it looks like the Braves might actually win a game today.
Imagine that. Braves winning. Let's see here. SEC baseball tournament history. 42 more rows. Let's see who this is. What the hell? This is okay. So it looks like A&M won it in 2016, so that gives them 1. South Carolina won it in 04, but they haven't won it. They haven't won it since then. So if they won this year,
to
it'd
the
be the
finals that year.
No, when they won the national title, what year did you win that? Was it 2000?
2010 and 2011, and then in 2002 and 2012 they made it to the finals, the final game. I mean, they
Right.
were
Well, LSU won it in 2010 and Florida won it in 2011. So, that's kind of shows you where you are with that. But I don't know. People don't give a shit about these tournaments, and it's
they really don't.
especially the ACC tournament. The hell with all that. All right. So, if you want to talk about these players suing the coaches, we could talk about that. Jackpot, do you want to talk about what you posted? I've got that. Do you want to talk about that in here? The picture you sent me earlier. Did you want to talk about that, or did you just
Sure.
Let me bring that up really quick here. So lay the groundwork on what we're looking at here, Jackpot.
So there was a post up on the bigspur.com today talking about just a couple of the Gamecock commitments for the 2025 class, and them getting an extra star. Both of those young men were upgraded from 4 stars or 3 stars to 4 stars, and there was a write up about it. And then I made a comment on it.
Yeah, hold on. I'm showing it right now. It's actually kind of funny because so here's the write up, and I'll read it for those that for the Tennessee folks that can't read. I'll read it for you really quick here. One South Carolina commitment made a significant jump within the latest 247 updates for that class. Another Gamecock pledge who was previously listed as a 3-star now has 4 stars for 247 Sports. Talking about Shamari Earls and Brian Rowe, who is now a 4-star after debuting as a 3-star in March. So there's the story there. And the jackpot says, Flip's not coming, hopefully, which is kind of funny. And he got 12 downvotes.
Oh, fuck
They're
y'all.
like, they're booing jackpot on the message on the big spur.
I mean, yeah. Can we learn to laugh? I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So
and
there's
it's
that.
fucking valid. Just like I told him, they get another star beside their name. Guess what? Everybody else looks at these things. All these other coaches, Kirby Smart sees that, and Sunbelt Billy sees that, and Brian Kelly sees that. Don't think these fuckers aren't gonna try to come steal your damn commitments. They're getting
Well,
some
but
attention.
there's also the other side of it too, where you've got some of these players when they commit to South Carolina, they're going to lose some stars. That's happened too. I mean, you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that happens. And that's not a joke. So I don't know, man. It's silly. I was looking at the 2010 SEC tournament here. South Carolina was the 3 seed. They lost to Ole Miss in the first round and were just bye. And then okay, we're gonna play on what Tuesday that week, and then we're gonna take the rest of the week off. We're gonna go down to Hoover, have some barbecue, and then go and beat the shit out of everyone in the
Yeah,
in the
then we're
tournament.
just gonna run through everybody else like shit through a tin horn.
Yeah, well that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. So anyway. Bird to
Who
Fly
did they
says
beat in the finals that year? That was UCLA. One year they beat UCLA, I
no,
think. Or was
the
it?
second one was UCLA. The second year,
Was
I
it
believe.
Florida?
I think it was the second one. I don't know.
I think one of them was Florida and one of them was UCLA. And I said UCLA.
Yeah.
This Gamecock Chuck.
Uh,
I think did
Bird to Fly.
Arizona put them out in 2012?
Yes.
It seems
Yeah. If I remember
yeah.
right. Yeah. He said J.C. Sherbert's going to kick jackpot
Them
from the site. You know,
wild desert wildcats. You can't do nothing with them. Do what? JC Sherman ain't gonna kick me off of nothing. I listen to his podcast every week.
J.C. Sherbert, if he is honest, he said some things on Twitter he wasn't supposed to about our gay brothers and sisters, and almost got his own self canceled. So he needs to shut his mouth
Well,
because those
you
tweets
were
could come
telling
back.
me a story one time about him about when maybe he worked at the same company you did or something about you
Yeah,
knew
he worked. What about he knew what?
something about something. Did he get fired for something embarrassing? What did he do?
Yeah,
You said he did something. Was it the thing the gay thing?
no, that wasn't with us, but he worked like right down the hall from where I worked at iHeartRadio, and he was kind of standoffish, and for some reason he was a guest on some show that was there, and like we asked him to do some stuff with us, and he just kind of like looked down upon us like we were whatever, and it was just like, okay, dude. And then thankfully, like I think it was like 5 or 6 months later, he said some stuff that you just can't say,
But
and
he would
his
get on the
stuff
Spurs Up
canceled.
show.
I don't know if he was on the Spurs Up show or
He's
not.
been on the Spurs Up show before. He looked down on you guys, but
Yeah.
he got on that show. I don't
Well,
know.
because I don't
How
I
old a
don't
fella is JC?
he's our age. He's our age. Like
Okay.
the thing that gets me is that you know, he shouldn't look down upon us. I worked for WVOC, which had the Gamecock rights for 50 years. So it's like you're looking down on the heritage news talk station in Columbia because I don't know, you want to whatever with some other folks. He was just terrible. But
He just
anyway,
seems weird. Now that guy does the podcast with Mike Morgan of ESPN Sport. Now
Morgan's
how old a feller is he? Is he a little older?
Mike Morgan used to play hoops with us at the Y, and him and I guarded each other a good bit. He's a pretty cool guy. I like Mike Morgan.
Is he older than
Mike's our
Dak?
age too.
No, because he was telling some stories
No,
about
he's
yeah, he seems okay. Like I can relate to a lot of the things he's saying, but JC's just, I mean, guy seems weird. Like I don't
well. I
know.
mean, Mike was the voice of Gamecock basketball, and
Yeah,
to be fair, when and I'm not talking out of turn here. Uh, the stuff that happened where hey, let's have Todd Ellis as the voice of Gamecock football, but let's not have Mike Morgan, who's been doing baseball and basketball and who was winning every award known to man and was considered one of the top voices there. But let's not let him do Gamecock football was a mistake for South Carolina.
when would that have been? Back
Absolute
around?
mistake.
Was
That
that
was back
during the?
when they got rid of Charlie Mack Alexander, and I think that was the guy's name, the guy that came from Vanderbilt to here or whatever. And
And that was that. That's
it
the guy
was
that replaced Bob Fulton, right?
right. Well, the guy that replaces Bob Fulton is that's the hardest thing in the world to do. But
Yeah.
they had the opportunity to continue to have one solid voice for the Gamecocks, and Mike Morgan would have died doing that. I mean, he literally would have done it forever. And they decided, well, we want Todd Ellis.
I
Mm.
remember that. I seemed to, was he doing basketball back when Frank Martin was coaching? Maybe.
He did stuff for ESPN, but I mean, he was the Gamecock radio voice for a while, for I don't know, 7, 8 seasons. In fact, I can't remember if he was on the call for the World Series championships or not. I got to remember. My years get screwed up, but I don't know.
I remember Bob Fulton doing the Gamecock baseball games.
Fulton was really great at that too. So yeah, but
Hoghead Todd Ellis is not terrible. Second of all, um,
are you fucking?
I remember Jim Phillips. The
Yeah,
Clemson. I don't think these guys. They must not get paid the money that they're really worth, because I remember Jim Phillips did football, basketball, and I guess baseball for Clemson. And I also remember Jim Phillips did the play-by-play for the Greenville Braves
right.
here
Well, I mean, if you
in town.
remember, there's a lot of that back in the day because they didn't. You don't get paid a whole hell of a lot to do play by
No,
play stuff. A
well, I
lot of
mean,
times they would pay you by the gig.
Tony Schiavone was the play-by-play man for the Charlotte O's back in the 1980s and was doing Mid-Atlantic Championship wrestling on the weekends.
Yeah. So I don't. I think that sometimes they pay you by the gig. You'll do a couple of games or whatever, but they generally sign a contract for just that year or whatever, and it may be like you get paid, but you get paid during that season, and then once the season's over, you're not getting anything else. So there's that. All right. Anyway, I don't know about Elway being there when Ellis got drafted. I don't know.
What was what was that Tennessee announcer's name? That he was pretty good. He was like 5, 4, 3, and there's orange in the end zone, touchdown Tennessee. I
I don't know.
was it John Ward? Was that his name?
Yeah, I don't remember that, to be
He
honest.
was a
Josh
pretty.
Wood, Hoghead says. God, Hoghead may be right. I don't know. I've never heard of that
Yeah,
guy.
he was
But.
pretty good.
So Anyway, there's that. Are the Braves going to win tonight, Jackpot? I'm looking. Or
Well, I
is
mean,
it
if you're winning
early
up
yet?
7-0, you should. Yeah, I said give him 6. Um,
Mm.
I like Larry Munson from Georgia too.
Yeah, Larry
He's
Munson was great with the whole. Yeah, the Brandon Bennett score with him saying,
yep.
lay down, dogs, lay down. That was a great
Yeah,
call.
yeah, and he said, great back, went over the top and broke our heart with 2 seconds left. We just couldn't keep him on the ground long enough.
Yeah, but I mean, it's amazing that call happened 30 years ago, and you still remember it because it was that good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They don't.
That, and
They
it's
don't
on
do so
YouTube
much
a lot.
anymore.
So,
Well, but still, though, I mean, you probably remember the first time you heard it, and you were like, "Wow, that's great," You know what I mean?
that all there's a bunch of his calls on there. There's the 60-yard field goal against Clemson in 1984 to win the game is on there, and he's like we're what was like 10 seconds left, I guess, and I could. He said we're gonna try to kick the ball 10,000 miles. Butler's gonna line up from the 43. Said he kicked a long one, and oh my God, the stadium rocks and swings, and the dogs win. That was crazy. The year before that, and I never knew this myself. So like Clemson and Georgia tied at like 16 in 1983, and the game was at Clemson. So like I don't know. I never saw this on TV. There's no clip of this on YouTube because I've tried to look it up. So the Clemson kicker, Obed Ariri, I guess is his name. He tried like a 57-yard field goal to try to win the game with like 5 seconds left. So, or maybe more than that. There's like 10 seconds left. And well, he misses it. So Georgia, right, they get the ball back right where they missed the field goal. So they turn around and Kevin Butler tries to kick a 67-yard field goal from right there, and he missed that too. So that's nuts. Um, you wouldn't see anything like that today, but I mean, because everybody they run the clock down to where now that you couldn't do that, but back then nobody. I don't think the clock management skills weren't what they are today. That's crazy.
Let's welcome Chris into the program. What's up, brother?
Hey, man, you guys are right. The quality of play-by-play guys, especially the ones employed by the school, has dropped so much. John Ward retired after the '98 national championship season, and they brought in, he handpicked Bob Kessling, and that dude is a wet fart on the radio. He's okay at basketball. Football, man, like when Tennessee beat Alabama for the first time in a decade and a half, you would have thought it was any other play, man. He was just like, and it's a knuckleball, and he made it. And they're storming the. It's like, come on, dude! Like,
Well,
no excitement.
well, Chris, it's probably because every game pretty much now is televised anyway. So, like, I don't think the demand for it on the radio is probably really what it used to be. Kind of like I'm pretty sure the newspaper articles that are written nowadays are probably pretty shitty compared to the ones written in 1985.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I don't know. Especially on games, and it's hard with streaming because streaming's always a few seconds behind. Used to, you could turn the radio on and time it up pretty easily, and it
Mm-hmm.
was. But now with streaming, you're about 10 seconds behind. So unless you could pause the feed on your phone and time it up, you really can't do that anymore like you used to. But you guys talking about like the Jaden Rashada situation. The one thing that Congress, that the bill the first bill they put up to Congress that I agreed with, there's a lot of it I didn't, but the one thing I agreed with is that you needed to be a licensed marketing agent or a marketing lawyer, to manage a collective and to represent kids in deals. You couldn't be these kids that have their barber or their daddy or their coach as their agent, and then these collectives that were started by a real estate agent or a car dealership owner. That's where all your problems are coming from. I mean, Georgia's got a compliance guy with an MBA running theirs. Tennessee's got 2 sports marketing agents running theirs, and you're not hearing, oh, well, this kid didn't get his check, and this kid did. But you got, hey, Miami's having some issues. Well, they got a friggin' ambulance chaser running their collective, and now Florida's having their problems, and they got a ex real estate agent, ex baseball player, and a car dealership owner running theirs. You need to get these dudes that went to school to be agents and to be sports lawyers running these things, not just the random Joe Blow. Your daddy's the one that markets everything.
Car dealership owner, and a what was the other one?
It was the ex real estate agent that played baseball.
I mean, those
Alabama, or Florida.
Those professions, I mean, and those businesses, they kind of ebb and flow a lot with your economy, real bad, and they take some major downturns. So, I mean, that's just wanting to wade in a sea full of sharks there.
Well, I think that down in Miami, if I remember, the guy that's running their collective, I mean, he has a law degree, which would put him under what we're trying to put together in Congress. But he may not be the it's like one of those things where, yes, you are an attorney, but you're not the kind of attorney that we want representing the program on an NIL level. So I don't know, man. It's all that stuff's a mess. It's just an absolute.
Yeah, you gotta regulate it. These kids that are letting their daddy make these decisions for them. You got that Juju kid out of Georgia, supposedly one of the best quarterbacks coming out of Georgia since Trevor Lawrence. And hell, his daddy's, well, you're going to go to USC. All right, no, now we're looking. I mean, Colorado is a clusterfuck, and Colorado is one of his top schools. And it's like, really? You're going to sit there and pass up Alabama and go give Colorado a shot? It's insane.
Well, but I think it's also an issue of culture, too, where it's like they would rather their father, with a lot of these recruits, they'd rather their dad or somebody that they know manage this for them, and they end up putting trust in people that may not have their best interests at heart down the line. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's what the NFLPA and the NBAPA and all those players associations and unions had to step in and make it you cannot play in the league if your agent is not one of these licensed agents to the NFLPA. That's what they need to do for college players too. And agencies can't represent players unless they're, cleared by the NFLPA. They need to have some clearinghouse for these collectives and for these sports agents for these kids, because this is where all the issues are coming from. Rashada's daddy is his agent. The dudes running the collective in Florida had no business running a collective. Both of those guys are gone. They had to pass it on to somebody new. But that's where all the problems are coming from. It's just people who are in over their head and just begging to be competitive and have no idea what they're doing things they shouldn't be doing.
I want to give a shout out to the comment section here where it talks about our Congress having to deal with sports. You're exactly right. They're sent to Congress to actually do what's good for the better of the people. But let's have hearings about, fucking football. And I love football. But the idea of, hey, let's have, there are so many other problems that we have in our country, but let's make sure that we have these special meetings about football. That bugs the piss out of me.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But the problem is it's like saying, well, why is the state police having to get involved with what's going on at Travelers Rest? They have their own police force. Well, yeah, because the police force are being crooked. If the NCAA wasn't sitting here and slamming Missouri and slamming SMU, but letting Alabama and letting North Carolina walk away with slaps on the wrist, how's Bo Davis get a 5-year show calls? He does something so bad that he gets a 5-year show calls at Alabama, but you never hear about it till he does an interview 3 years later about why the man's driving a fucking truck instead of coaching football. How's that happen in Alabama and he's the only one that gets in trouble? Because the NCAA doesn't want to hurt one of their cash cows. And so people got tired of the NCAA and killed it, and now you have Congress having to step in.
I know, but in fairness, a lot of it came down to the NCAA was with certain schools was like they didn't want to go and have a lawsuits from, you know, you mentioned North Carolina and Alabama, and Tennessee's in the mix too. But it's if they came, touch me and I'll sue. That's basically what it came down to. And then the people got in the smoke-filled rooms and said, "Do we really want to do this? Let's just go and bash some program that's not gonna fight back. We'd rather penalize South Carolina for too much icing on a cookie, which they did. It's that kind of thing." So
I agree 100%. Congress shouldn't have to be involved, but somebody, I mean, somebody didn't do their job along the way, and Daddy has to come in and separate everybody, separate all the kids from fighting, and that's where we're at. Like, I hate that it's that way, but that's where we're at.
Yeah.
well,
But I'm sure you got other people calling in, so I was just wanting to get my 2 cents in on it. But I mean, with Rashada, like, I think like you're right, they'll probably settle and he'll be fine. But I don't know. Georgia got him the quarterback, Florida didn't. We'll see how it goes. It's funny at the end of the day, but hopefully it doesn't ruin anything.
What this tells me is that if I am let's say that I'm a kid that I'm looking at, and Georgia and Florida are competing for a lot of the same players. But if I'm thinking, all right, I'm looking at Florida and they're going to give me NIL money, are they lying? That's what this guy said. And he's suing the head coach. Why would any kid want to go there now? I mean, if you're sitting here and you're looking at it and it's like, I could go to Georgia where we haven't heard shit about one NIL check that was missing, period. Okay. Or we do Tennessee or whatever. But we've heard that they lied to us down here in Florida. None of these kids should want to go there. I mean, if they're smart, it's like, why would you do that?
Well, and you got to question. I mean, they came into December of last year before the early signing period with a top 5 signing class and ended with the 13th signing class because so many people flipped at the last minute. Was that just because Florida had a bad year? Or was that because they started looking at their money and they're saying, okay, we don't have enough money to pay this kid. Sorry, will you come for $50K instead of $100? He's like, no, deuces. I'll be at Auburn if you need me, and stuff like that. Like, did that happen again? Like, I'd like to hear those stories. Might not ever, but like, it's weird that they came in December with the top 5 class and ended with barely a top 15 class.
We'll see how that works out, but it's just funny to me because you've got people that are suing, saying, "Hey, I was promised this and didn't get it." That's a mess. That's an absolute.
We'll see how it all goes. People are talking about firing Billy for calls, but the NCAA, I mean, they're toothless now.
They can't. So, the NCAA can't do anything, so there is no cause.
Yeah, if you don't have an NCAA investigation, what cause do you have to fire them? So I think they're on the hook for that buyout too. So that'll be the third coach. If they fired Billy before, I want to say it's like November 25th. If they fire him before November 20th, they'll be still paying 3. They're still paying Jim McElwain a little bit. They'll finish paying him November 25th. They're still paying Dan Mullen, and they'll be paying a buyout for Billy. So that's insane.
All right, Chris. Appreciate it, buddy.
See you guys.
All right, there you go. Chris coming in and joining the program. Yeah, it's weird that
Octavia wasn't on tonight for him to verbally eviscerate again. That was fun.
You can tell it's the off season because normally Chris and I spit horrible things at each other, and I've agreed with the stuff he said here in the past couple of days, past couple of times.
Yeah, well, I'm not. Yes. I'm kind of like mellowed out, I guess, on the Vol hatred because we don't play them for at least 2 years. So, why? It's not worth it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Turn that venom on someone else. Mizzou.
Yeah, you got. Well, no, you should turn it to Old Dominion. Make sure you win that game, sir. That's where you should start.
Well, my magazine today, they're picked to finish second to last in their conference. I read up on them a little bit. Don't think it's going to be a problem. Don't think.
So look, and just be real, Jackpot. It's May 22nd here. when you look at that schedule, I mean, there are very few games that you're thinking right now. It's like, all right, if I go down to Billy Bryce and I got a ticket, I'm not gonna go home crying. Old Dominion's one of them. I mean, for certain.
Yeah.
So I pick, but
Yeah, I think
that's the crazy thing about.
ODU is going to have a down year. Um,
But that's the crazy thing about this South Carolina team is that you've got some guys coming back. But on the other hand, there's so many questions about them that you really don't know. I mean, you've got the stuff with Lenore Sellers. He looks like he could be a great quarterback, but he hasn't played yet. It's just there's so many questions about them. So we could sit here and run our mouths and say, all right, they're going to go 4-8 or 5-7 or 6-6, but they could have some guys that come in from that transfer portal, and you know, we've they picked up
I'm
Rocket
going to say
Sanders.
this. I'm going
He
to
may
pitch
have a
out a
good
weird.
year,
I don't know how many there were, but I'm going to pitch out a weird stat. If they can cut the number of injuries they had last year at least in
but
half or better.
I'm talking about my daughter. My wife said I'm talking about my daughter. What were you talking about, Jackpot?
If they can cut the number of injuries they had last year in half, or even better than that, they'll have a winning record. I believe that. Because look,
You-
I don't think Shane Beam. I don't think the guy. I mean, he might be. He's kind of flaky, and he wears his emotions on his shirt sleeve. But I think he genuinely cares, and I really don't think that he's going to go down without a fight. So I think some
well, I
people
mean, they'll.
might get surprised. I'm
Well,
not
we'll
saying they're
see
going to
about that.
go beat Alabama on the road. I'm not saying they're going to go beat Clemson.
I
I'm not going to say they're
I
beating
stand by
Odessa.
what I said. That there are two certainties this Gamecock season. You're not winning a game in October, and you're not winning at Clemson. The rest of the season, you might be able to talk to me about.
Oh well,
Those
not winning at Clemson.
October's not
That's
happening.
not a certainty. I mean, you
Not
know,
happening.
well,
Not
they
happening.
beat a better
This-
Clemson team in
Sure,
2022 than you've got
sure,
this year.
yeah, yeah. We had a
Well, they
quarterback
did.
hitting cheerleaders with passes, but sure.
Well, I
All right,
mean,
let's add
do you
a
have
rate.
someone who's a significant upgrade over that? No.
Yeah. Do you want to play quarterback? You would be a significant upgrade over that.
No shit.
That guy was the shits, Jackpot. Sorry, I'd hate to break that to Ray here, who that's now his starting quarterback. But sir, you have a shit quarterback now. I've seen enough of the Uncle to
How is he
know he
confirmed
is the
the starting
shit.
quarterback? They're not even going to bother to have a competition. That's crazy.
He's the starter. He's the starter. Wouldn't you agree? He's the starter, Ray.
Who you talking about? DJ?
Uwe Uncle, yeah,
Oh,
DJ's your starter.
absolutely. We didn't bring him in to
Yeah.
sit on the bench.
See, Jackpot, the Florida State man will tell you right there. And I tell you, Florida State man, you better hope you have a running game and a good defense, or y'all gonna go 8-4. Because DJ is
Uh,
shit.
I wouldn't bet on that 8-4 if I were you.
I
I
don't
think
understand. I don't. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't get the hype. I mean, you got a brand new starting quarterback in your system, one who's proven to be not very good. Brand new starting wide receivers, brand new starting running back. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah, why should we
Who
even
do you
play the
have
system?
that? I mean,
I suppose we should just forfeit all the games and not even play them, right?
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just
nobody said
saying
that.
that
I don't
if
know. I
you,
don't know who the roster's
I
got on
think
it.
if
That's
if you
you
think
got a
that
good
you think that
defensive.
DJ is gonna carry you, you got issues, in my opinion.
What's that
Well, to be
defensive
quite
end's
honest
name?
with you, he was brought
Yeah,
in to be more of a game manager and throw the deep ball. That's basically it.
he's not. He can't manage games, man.
Well,
He
What's
can't
your
do it. They
what's your
what I'm saying,
defensive
I don't know that he can or he can't until we play the season.
what's your defensive
oh,
end's name? That's you got one guy that's really good.
We got Marvin Jones Jr. from Georgia. He's a FSU legacy, and I'm trying to remember the other guy's name. It escapes me. Number
It's on the
11.
tip of my tongue.
Yeah, he's. They're both really good.
Patrick
And we,
something or another.
yeah. I'm sorry, my brain went dead, but
Somebody put it in the comment section. What's that guy's name? It's Patrick. something.
If you hadn't asked me, Jackpot, I could have told
Patrick
you.
Payton.
Yes, that's it. Peyton.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good. And we've revamped the DL. Plus, we had some holdovers that's from the previous year. To be quite honest with you, the DBs are going to be solid. The defensive line is going to be solid. The only question mark is going to be linebacker on the defense. Offensive line should be decent. We have talented players on the
You
at
got
receiver.
You have two guys, two offensive linemen that are in that magazine I got today. Your
Right.
first team
We
All
got one
ACC
from Alabama.
preseason.
And he's more of a road grader. That's why he's going to play guard. We got Roy Dale Williams from Alabama to be a running back. We got a receiver from Bama, a receiver from LSU. We're not going to be a prolific offense. But we're going to be a adequate offense. Mike Norvell can coach offense. I'm not saying he might be the world's greatest, but you have to admit he puts up points. Wouldn't you agree with that, Rob? He scores points.
Well, he does score points, but to score points this season, he may have to take snaps. Because I'm just telling you, I've seen enough of Uyunglele where, I mean, that guy has just been a disappointment. And
I
thought, hey, going out to Oregon State or whatever would be good for him and a change of scenery and all that. But he's had one good college game in his career where he threw for
like
500
Notre
yards.
Dame game?
Yeah, he threw for like 500 yards. He holds the record for the opposing team quarterbacks at Notre Dame for total yardage in a game, and he lost. And he hasn't had a game like that since.
It's him?
Yeah, it's him. He's the one who went up there to Notre Dame during the COVID year.
I would have thought it was Mike Holden.
What? No, he threw for the jackpot. That's funny. No, he threw for Trevor Lawrence had COVID. He went up there and threw it.
DJ lost.
Yeah, well, DJ lost, but he Lawrence had COVID and he had to play, and he went out there and threw for like 400 yards, 400 something yards.
How many touchdowns did he throw for?
Oh God! Hold on, I'll look at it right now.
No, we know he.
Was it a?
He threw one. He threw one to Cornell Powell. Threw one to Cornell Powell, who embodied the Clemson Christian spirit by getting in the camera there on NBC and said, "That's right, motherfucker." Something to that effect. Right there in front of God and everybody.
Well, let me ask you this, Jackpot.
Hold on. He had 29 of 44 for 439 yards, 2 touchdowns throwing, and a rushing touchdown. So,
still not as many yards as Jake Bentley had in 2018 at
well, I don't see how you could blame that loss on him, Rob.
Yeah, but what happened with both of them? They both lost.
Poor time management there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. So basically, anytime Clemson lost, it was DJ's fault.
That was Dabo.
It had nothing. Oh God!
Dabo did something stupid at the end of that, Rob.
I agree. You talking about time management for the coach and the offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you now.
I'm just saying that Uyunglele is a guy that has. I mean, he's got $1 million talent with his arm, but
he absolutely has that.
He can throw the ball deep. We'll give him that. But when it comes down to it, he makes shitty decisions. And I'm telling you, there's gonna be a game this year where his decision making will cost Florida State a game, and they'll lose a game that they have no business losing. Someone said Georgia Tech over there in the mix. They'll have a game where they go out and they've got more talent than whoever it is they're playing, and they're gonna get their face stomped because he will screw it up.
Right. So I listened to Jackpot's. I guess he had a video he posted. I guess either earlier today, I think, or yesterday. And you're taking the points, 13.
Who with
Georgia Tech,
the
Georgia Tech game?
Yeah.
Wow. How much are you gonna lose on that one?
If I lose, it's $25. But
Oh,
dude,
gee. Well,
y'all are both going across the ocean. You got all brand new starters in key positions, and then Georgia Tech doesn't. They've got continuity. They got some confidence. They went to a bowl game last year. I think they won it. Yeah, they won it. I mean, I could see it being a 10-point game.
now
I think
is
13.
that something you're doing with your head or with your heart or just wishful thinking?
No,
I don't have a
look.
dog in the hunt
I'm
either
telling
way. I just think the
right.
line's too big.
Look, I have the same thing too with me, and I'm not trying to rip your program, but I think you have cultural issues. All those guys quitting, and the idea of with Norvell bringing in all these players from everywhere. I mean, I think that if you can get all of them to play, it's going to be great. But in the end, you're putting too many combustible elements in one spot.
Well, if you
And
want to talk about a
I think
culture
that
problem, if they had a cultural
sure,
problem, those kids would not have came back from another year to make a run at a title. They would have all went to the NFL. Okay, they came back to make a run at a title. They was not going to play for a national championship. They all had opportunities to go to the NFL. Why risk getting injured in a meaningless game? Come on, Rob. You're just being petty.
no,
Did they
sir,
have
no, sir, I'm
did they
not.
have players that
Hold on,
didn't? Well,
Georgia ran their guys out there,
let
Who
me
so
ask.
gives a
Georgia's
shit?
Let
It
guys
me
showed
ask.
doesn't
up.
matter.
Let me
I
ask a
don't
serious.
care. I
Let
don't
me ask.
care.
Let me
It
ask a
doesn't matter.
question. Let me ask a question. Is there anybody on the Florida State team this year, on the roster this year, that didn't play in the bowl game because they chose not to? I didn't think you could do that. I thought you had to.
So basically, oh no, we had several that had those quote unquote injuries. Dude, you're not
Oh,
understanding. We held players out. We held them out, and people held out on their own. That was a bullshit setup from day one to make the committee look like turds. It was all a setup. You guys can shake your head all
Right.
you want to. I'm telling you, it was to prove a point. Screw you, F you, screw you.
Okay.
That was
Well,
it.
what point does that prove? You're when I look at the score and
Did
you
you
lose
not hear
63 to
what Kirby
3.
Smart said after the game? Did you not
I
listen
know
to his
I
press
know Kirby
conference?
Smart ran his guys out there. You had plenty of Georgia's ones played. I know that.
Right. So basically, what you're saying is we've got a cultural problem. Nobody's
I
worth a
do. I think
shit
you have
from
a
left over from last year.
no.
And when we
I'm
played
not saying
Clemson, you
that,
guys
sir.
beat us 63-3.
No, sir. I'm not saying that. You're putting
That's what
words
you're
into my mouth. But
implying. You're implying
well, that's
that.
not if that's what you take from that, then take whatever you want. I'm just saying with the idea that you bring in new players all the time and you don't have anybody there that's dyed in the wool Florida State. Remember, Mike Norvell, up until this draft, never has coached a guy on his own and gotten them to the NFL draft. That's a statement, too. I mean, he takes everybody else's leftovers and sends them to the league. That's what he does.
But if you'll
Now, it
also
may end up
note,
working for him.
listen, Rob, he's took players from teams that were supposedly garbage. Look at Johnny Wilson at Arizona State. We were one of the only programs that offered him a scholarship. And look,
Mhm.
he's in the league now. He
And that's
developed that
great.
kid. We
But
developed that
in
kid.
the
Just because we
in the
didn't
end,
recruit him doesn't mean we didn't develop him.
okay, and that's
I
fair
mean
too.
seriously, I'm being honest. Just you take a kid
Okay,
from another program, he underperforms. He's not supposedly not very good. You see, look at Trey Benson. He had a blowed out knee. No one wanted him. We took him. He's in the league now.
okay,
I'm just
that's
saying it
fair.
doesn't matter where or when you get a player or how you get him. If you can develop him, play him in your system, and put him in the league, what's the difference if you get him out of high school? Does it matter?
It does matter because you found that kid at 8th grade, recruited him, and brought him in and built him up. You didn't go and get him from where somebody else started.
Listen, Dabo, we're not living in the Dabo world anymore where you don't get transfers. You're basically taking Dabo Sweeney's side of things now.
No, sir, I'm not. Do you think he could have just one player,
You're absolutely. That is exactly Dabo Sweeney. You're spitting it word for word what Dabo says. That's exactly
all I'm saying
what Dabo
is that
says.
if Norvell is this great coach, he could have one. No, he could have one kid. You think he could have just one kid that he found from high school that he could develop and get to the league? Just one? You can have all the others as transfers. Why not one? Why has that not happened yet?
Because he's a shitty coach, man. He's terrible.
No, man. I don't think he's a shitty coach. I just think he's playing with fire.
How many games did Dabo win last year?
Dabo's got 2 national titles, so Norvell can sit there and watch him go fuck himself.
Lately? Dabo's national what has he done lately? He's done nothing since the world of NIL and transfer. He's done nothing.
Rob, I just want to say, I want to interject here. The era that Dabo won the national titles in, even though it's time-wise, it's not that far back. It's almost like the difference between black and white TV and our.
You're exactly right, Jackpot. We're living in a different era in a different world. Absolutely.
Okay, well, here's something Dabo Sweeney didn't do. He didn't send his team to a bowl game and get beat by 60 fucking points. He didn't do that.
No, he played. Who did Clemson lose to? Was it Ohio State? They got the shit stomped out of them, and every damn player played.
The shit stomped out of them.
Every player played.
Out of them.
They beat Kentucky. Damn it!
They didn't make mistakes and sit here and say, you know what, we're going to prove a point. We're going to prove a point to someone. They didn't do that. They went out and they played, and their ones played, and they didn't lose by 60 points.
What was that score? I can't remember the score, but it was in a bowl game, wasn't it?
What are you talking about?
The Clemson, who did they lose to so bad in a bowl game? Was it the Orange Bowl?
No, that was.
They lost. Donovan McNabb lit them up with Syracuse one year. I remember that.
It was after that.
No, he's talking about West Virginia.
West Virginia. Yeah, West Virginia had a huge game against them, but they didn't make a statement. They scored 33 points, which is 11 times more than what your team scored, sir.
Yeah, we're terrible.
They didn't lose by 6.
You know what I'm saying? There's a greater chance of hell freezing over than Dabo Sweeney winning another national championship. You have a great day.
That's fine. You have a great day too, sir. I don't know why Florida State fans get so upset. You bring up the fact that their coach sent a team out where they lost 63-3. Hey, guess what? If you want to be upset at what they did to you, just pull the team out forever. We're not going to go play in your shitty bowl game. We're not doing that.
Look, I think, I mean, everybody knew they were going to lose. There's no way they were winning out without their quarterback anyway. But I mean, I don't know. I just think that the right thing to do would have been to tell those players, hey, you're playing. I mean, this is a team. We came this far together. We're not breaking up now. And then went out there, fought your fucking ass off, lost 42-20 or whatever, and then call it a damn day. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, that's my thing. I mean, I've often told the story. The 1990 Miami Hurricanes, right? They got left out of the national title game because they lost to Florida State early in the season. They thought they should have been in that national title game, and they weren't in there. They had to play Texas in the shitty fucking Cotton Bowl in Dallas. So what'd they do? They just went out and kicked the damn shit out of Texas, 55-3. Scoring touchdowns.
Welcome to the program,
going up the tunnel, coming back out, firing the 6-shooters. Wow. Getting penalty after penalty after penalty, just beating the shit out of them.
All right, welcome to the program, sir. I think Big Barney Ross is in trouble here. What's going on, friend? That would be you, Big Barney Ross. Go. I don't know what's wrong with Big Barney Ross.
This is the part where you talk, Big Barney.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, Big Barney Ross. We thought you were Maybe your microphone was stuck down there with the pigs. What you got, brother?
Well, how do y'all feel about the headsets where the player coaching reaction is going to take place, along with the tablets being on the field? And are you aware of the two programs that were field tested in the NFL last year through AI? I think one of them was Prime Vision for the offense, and Defensive Alert was for the defense. Basically, they field tested AI calling plays based on the probability of the lineup in which the defense was lined up in. The offense would call it. And people got to see that live on TV. And I think this year, I think there's going to be a lot of that going on. And I'd like to get your opinion on how do y'all feel about AI? Because if you look at Kentucky's offensive coordinator, that guy's got Microsoft tattooed on him somewhere. I mean, the guy looks like a geek from, MIT. How do y'all feel about AI calling plays in the college football?
I think the
And
robots
I'll
are
get
going
up here and listen to what y'all got to say.
Thank you, sir. I think the robots are going to eat us eventually, in my opinion. I don't know how that's going to work with them calling plays, etc. I don't know with all that.
I just don't understand why. Like, I don't know why. Who makes the decisions and nobody suggested it over the years. I mean, like the NFL has had helmet communication since 1994.
Well, I think you can.
1994. And I mean, meanwhile, in college, for the past 30 years, we've been sitting over here doing signals that are like a grasshopper, the Fonz from Happy Days, a bucket of chicken, and a fucking gas pump. I mean,
Well, maybe you can thank Michigan for it. I really think that the whole thing with the Michigan scandal and all that. I mean, I think
well,
that's
you can
something
thank
that
Michigan for but for getting the thing finally in house where they're using it. And I'm saying, why are they not using it before? I mean, they should have went to that in the 1990s too. If the NFL was doing it, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's we'll see with all that. Let's add.
Hey,
what's up,
evening, gentlemen.
Good
How's it
evening,
going?
sir?
All right.
Man, I'm great.
All right, Rob. I got to get this off my chest. I'm so sick and tired of people saying this.
You
It's
gonna
these
take the
people.
bra off?
It's these people saying that Spencer Rattler was terrible. That pisses me
No, that's
off.
fucking ridiculous. Spencer Rattler's line was terrible.
Dude threw for 300
I don't think.
yards
I don't think.
despite having
Hold
no
on.
O-line that one game.
So I don't think I ever said Spencer Rattler was terrible. I think Spencer Rattler played for a shitty program.
Thank you.
Spencer
That's what
Rattler
I
was
say.
the best. He was the best player on that team, in my opinion.
I mean,
He played behind a shitty offensive line. And if you go back and watch the Clemson game last year, the guy went out there and he played in that game and literally got his face kicked in. Go back and watch that game where the Clemson defensive line basically was in the backfield every single time and lit him up like a Christmas tree. And he kept getting up and wanted to do his best to try to win that game. Spencer Rattler's got balls. He really does.
For
The
once,
only
me and
mistake he
Rob
ever
agree
made
on
was
something.
going to South Carolina. That's the only mistake he ever made in his life, was going to South Carolina.
Yeah, but I
Because
mean,
he
he
ended up
threw
playing behind a shitty offensive line, and it ended up
That a
fucking up his
mistake.
Everyone's
NFL
saying-
draft. Because he could have went anywhere else where they had an offensive line. Anywhere.
Everyone's saying, yeah, that's what I mean. Rob you're 100% correct, because everyone forgets he didn't have an O-line, and this year his two best receivers got hurt, and the dude still threw for 3,000 yards.
Now, and he couldn't help with the wide receiver part of it, but he could have. Someone should have said to him, South Carolina hasn't had a good offensive line in a decade.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that wasn't true at the time that he came there.
The dude threw for 3,000 yards 2 years in a row. That's not. I mean,
you think he could have went down to? I mean, put him on. I don't know. Put him at Ole Miss. Put him at wherever. I mean, he was
and
one of the highest rated quarterbacks,
Well, I mean,
and he would have been
okay. Well,
fine.
in
Yeah, he would have been
2021, well, he
lit.
came in 2022, 2021. Maybe they didn't have a good offensive line in 2020. I mean, they paved the way for the leading rusher in the SEC. I mean,
I'll admit the O-line wasn't
2019.
that
I
bad in
mean, they beat
2022.
Georgia. I mean, yeah.
O-line wasn't that bad in 2022, but I mean, the dude threw for 3,000 yards 2 years in a row, and everyone's saying it all because he didn't put up major like what he did that one game against Tennessee. They're saying that's the only good game he had, and the people who say that are ridiculous. Threw for 300 yards against
He's
Clemson,
going.
2
He
touchdowns,
destroyed
a rushing
I think
Vanderbilt.
touchdown.
he has a realistic shot of at worst being the backup in New Orleans, and he may end up starting there.
Yeah, and
So
I hope he
mean,
does.
he's great. He's
I
great.
hope
So
he does.
I get frustrated too when I see that stuff because it's like, do you watch fucking games at all?
Thank you.
What are we doing here? This guy got
Thank you.
Tennessee to go into fucking dark mode because of him. They were so butthurt about the way that he deep dicked their girlfriends after he deep dicked them at Billy Bryce a couple of seasons ago. They had to go into special game mode. Ooh, Rattler's coming. Let's put on our
they
special
had to wear their
uniform.
Halloween uniforms a month before
Yeah.
Halloween.
They had to get all those hillbillies riled up and everything else for that game.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Rob. You took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm just being honest. If the guy had an offensive line at South Carolina would have won 10 games in both seasons. Both
You're
seasons.
100% correct.
Even with the shitty linebackers they have. So
I mean, he had zero time to get back and throw the ball. And I mean, you remember that one game where he got sacked 9 times and still threw for 300 yards?
9 times.
I became a fan when he said
team without a fucking off defense.
when he went up there and Tennessee had their special dark mode game, and he didn't have shit for protection, no wide receivers to go through. They ran their mouths at him and beat him up on the field, and he still went to the post-game press conference and says, well, it was their Super Bowl. He wiped his dick on the curtains and left. I was a fan after that.
Octavian was saying he's terrible, and Octavian forgets he threw for 400 yards against his team and 4 touchdowns. Then again, why am I giving Octavian any legitimacy or room to talk?
Octavian
makes most dumb people.
It was a fucking dumb shit against Florida last year. They went in the damn prevent defense when they're fucking up 38-27 with whatever it was, 4 minutes left. Go into damn prevent defense mode and let what's that damn receiver that I can't stand? I was calling him
Juice Wells.
No, John Cena. No,
Pearson. Pearson.
Yeah,
that's right. Juice got hurt already.
Oh god damn, that made me so mad. I wanted to fucking spit nails. That was the worst.
And by the way, and Brock brings up a great point too. Not one time ever did Spencer Rattler complain ever about the fact that his protection was basically a snuff film.
Not once.
He never said one fucking word. So there's that.
Right. But then everyone wants to obsess over and focus on that stupid QB1 show when the kid was like what, 16?
Yeah. He was 16 years old. We've been over that. I mean, shit. When I was 16 when they were 16.
When I was 16, I made a bunch of dumb decisions. I mean, gosh, I just don't get it. I mean,
there's a lot of difference for him between 16 and 23. There's a lot of differences there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all get to the next caller if there is one. But appreciate y'all letting me have me on.
All right, bud. Appreciate it. R says Rattler didn't have to complain. I was complaining for him. Very, very good, R. That's funny. No, I've seen people run their mouths about Rattler, and it's like, fuck else you want this kid to do? You know? Fuck else.
Yeah, it's done. It's over and done with. They wasted his time in Columbia. except for 2 games. What, 3 or 4 games maybe? You know, you had a
Right.
few big You had a few big
I
wins,
mean,
but they
he
wasted
played
him.
great in he played great in the bowl game against Notre Dame. He had a good game in that game. I mean, had them in position to win when they're lining up fucking Jordan Birch to catch passes for him.
Yeah, there was
What the fuck
there was
are we
no
doing here?
defense. Yeah, there was no defense in that one. So
Yeah, well, anyway. All right. Well, final time for the put the thing out here. If you would like to join the show, feel free, sir. But jackpot looks like the Braves have won. Hot
all
damn.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
Braves
fallen
won
about 6 games
9-2.
out of first place now. That's a
Fuck
deep
you,
hole to be
Cubs. Yeah.
sitting in.
Well, the Phillies are playing really good baseball too, but I don't know. The Braves were they're not the shits, so that's good.
I got a lot of traction
Uh,
on one of my tweets that I put out over the weekend. I think it was after that game Saturday. I was out in the office, which is my back porch / deck out there, and I had a few cocktails. And after that game, when they hit that home run and that, I just put out a tweet that Tennessee baseball to me was basically 9 Bryce Harpers, 9 punchable faces. 'Cause they're all just a bunch of smug motherfuckers. Well, what I'd have
well, you
done, in
remember,
fact, first off, that one guy that hit all them home runs, I'd have pitched around him, and that black guy that hit all them home runs, I'd have just hit him in the thigh or something and just put him on first base. Stop giving up fucking home runs. Those are momentum killers. I mean, not only does it kill you on the
yeah,
scoreboard, it kills you momentum wise. Walk them. Do something.
yeah.
Just that's why I think the Kingston's a fucking idiot. He's a shitty coach, and today's win I think was nothing more than Arkansas really probably just didn't care a whole lot.
Anyway,
You're
I'm
probably
I'm
right.
with
They
you on that.
probably want to get done. They probably want to get the tournament done so they can go back to Fayetteville and practice for real and get ready for the damn regional they're going to host.
Well, I'm also in the camp of if you come up in the first inning and you hit a homer, and then you come up in the third inning and you hit a homer. When you come up in the fifth inning, I'm gonna put one in your fucking ear. That's like old school baseball stuff there. You've already hit your 2 home runs, motherfucker. That's all you get. You're not gonna be swinging again. You would get nothing to hit. It's ridiculous. Lawnmower Man says, "How far is Clemson baseball going to go, sir? I appreciate what the coach has done up there, but as I said, we have to figure out how they're going to play in June. And I like to give the comrade shit, but that's one of the smartest things he said on this program. College baseball is about what you do in June. If you're not going to win games in June, it doesn't matter. Does not matter."
I
So
remember
we'll see how they go.
the one time years ago on Facebook after you guys got knocked out of a regional, like out of your own regional, I think by Vanderbilt or someone,
Yeah,
and Comrade posted up a black and white picture of just a black and white picture of June Cleaver.
yeah, June Cleaver. Yeah, Conrad can troll when he wants to. It's pretty funny, but I mean that's just the way that it is. I think that I don't know about their. I don't think they have enough pitching to get. I think they have enough pitching to win a regional, but I don't know about a super regional. And a lot of it will depend on the matchup. They could get it. They could make the College World Series if the matchups are right because they have. I mean, offensively, they're really good. They steal
What kind of
bases. They do a lot of good things. So
what kind of team does Coastal Carolina have?
they're projected to be a regional team too. Let me look at my. I've got
Because
my.
you people avoided them this year twice. You were supposed to play them,
Oh,
and the rain helped you.
oh man, really? Is that where you're gonna go?
Yeah, I mean the rain
Really?
helped you both times against Coastal. You didn't have to play them.
Well, I mean, you can't help what the rain does for you there. So I mean, Coastal's won a national title. They're not a joke. So Baseball America has the projected field of 64, and I think that they have Coastal as a host. Let me look here. I'm checking right now. No, maybe not. So where do they have They have Coastal as a 3 seed. Now maybe Coastal's falling off. Yeah, I haven't been really keeping up with the Chanticleers this year, but
Man says who's top
they're a 3
pitching
seed.
against my
Going to
Tigers?
the
Michael Hunt.
Oh. Let's see your
Short
Baseball
Mike for
America.
short.
Let's see where they have South
Mike
Carolina
Hunt.
as a 2 seed. 2 seed going to a 2 seed going to
What?
NC State. Baseball America has South
Be
Carolina
good.
as a
He's
2
great.
seed going to NC State. Ah, Jesus. We may need to edit on Jackpot with all that.
Well, they
Anyway,
came
it's
here
been a good
last year
show.
and we beat them.
We'll be back at it on Sunday. We got
NC State came here for the regional last year, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, we beat
There's
them.
that. All right. Well, I think we had a good show, Jackpot, and we'll be back at it on Sunday. Sunday night, we'll know. By the time we come on the air on Sunday, we'll know where the regional hosts are.
Well,
And then Monday
let's
is
get your
Selection Monday.
thoughts real quick before we get off here. Your thoughts on the week 0 game in Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland, between the Florida State Quitter Knowles and the the Rambling Wreck. Am I nuts? I mean, to think they can cover
No.
it's fucking 13. 13.
No, I wish you would have. I wish you would have called me because I'd have sent you some cash on that bet. Because Florida State, by the way, has.
I mean, I like
I'm not very
Ray, but
high
I
on
think
the
he thinks a lot more
Yeah.
of them, I think, than everybody else does.
Well, I think that first of all, you're playing overseas. You're playing in a different spot, and if you're getting 13.5 with Georgia Tech, I would roll with that. I really, really would. Why
Yeah, I
not?
mean, Georgia Tech actually has a good quarterback. Florida State does not.
Yeah. So
And they
Big Money
return
Ross says
a
Florida
lot
State
of their
wins by 12.
production. Florida State doesn't have return production. Not saying that these people aren't going to be able to produce. I'm not saying Florida State's a shitty team, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's hard when you're trying to argue with a fan of somebody that they can't see and they can't look at a situation from
Well, and
a
that's
logical
and
point of
Ray.
view.
I think Ray got upset because of what I said about the cultural problem. That is a problem. The whole team quit.
Yeah, it
The whole
absolutely
team said,
is.
"Fuck it, we quit. We don't care enough about this uniform to go and at least try to show up against Georgia. We don't care enough to even try." So yeah, that's a culture
Playing
problem.
against Georgia in the what was it, the Orange Bowl? That should have been a
Whatever Bowl it was.
that should have been a big fucking deal.
Look, and you run your mouth about Dabo Sweeney, but Dabo Sweeney got the majority of his players to show up for the Kentucky matchup. And that wasn't even nearly as big of a bowl. But Clemson had, I think, 2 starters out for that. 2 guys. Everybody else played. Why? Because Clemson doesn't have an issue with culture. They care about the fucking uniform up there. When you have a rent a team, which is what you've got, they're not going to care. They're just not going to care. So, and I'm glad Georgia did that to them. I really, really am, because maybe they'll learn something. We learned all we needed to know about Norvell and Florida State then. Now, is Florida State going to go to the shitter? I don't know. They may be great. He's bringing in new guys all the time.
I was actually at work during that game. Thank goodness I don't have to do that during the football games anymore. But I didn't get to see any of that mouth pumping. But I mean, I don't think I really missed much.
Well, but the point is, you didn't watch it, and here's the thing: that is going to be a stain on your record forever. Forever. Got blown out by 60 points in a bowl game. And Kirby could have scored 100 if he wanted to. He really could have. What a mess. All right. Well, I agree with you on that. I would take Georgia Tech and the points. And by the way, that's how I look at a lot of games. The first game of the season, especially neutral site games, take
I mean, I'm not even
the
sure they
underdog in the
win.
points. No. SEC Dog says, Rob, FSU had a chance to prove they should have been in. What did they do? Quit and let Jackson Muschamp run all over them 63-3. Yeah, he's right. He's right. Don't you think sitting there and saying, you know what? Making that statement to the committee, we're like, oh, well, fuck you. We're just going to do this and not play our guys. How about, you know what, motherfucker? We're going to line up with the two-time defending national champion, and we're going to go out there and try to bust their mouth and show that we belong. That's a much better way to make a statement than, fuck you, I'm going to quit. We're going to quit and go be bitches. Fuck Florida State. You know what? Fuck them. I'm at that point with that fan base. They can go fuck themselves. They want to run their mouths at me, quitting fucks. I hope the nerds beat you. Fuck them. All right,
No,
Jackpot. There's a great way
that
to
would
end the
have to
show.
be embarrassing to
Yeah,
I don't know.
lose
If
to
my
the.
team did that, I mean, it would be embarrassing to have to try to
Hey,
rationalize it and explain away.
here's a question. If they lose to the nerds, okay, then they should have to schedule, I don't know, Georgia State. Until they have to schedule Georgia teams until they beat a team in Georgia if they lose to the nerds. Until then, I don't want to hear your mouth.
So who's up next if they okay, if that
Georgia
happens. So
State,
if they lose to
Georgia State, Georgia Southern,
who's next?
Georgia
Georgia
Southern,
Southern, Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw State.
Then after that, I guess we gotta go down to like Valdosta State.
Valdosta, yeah, why not? Billy Cole says FSU will use jet lag if they lose. Yeah, that's probably true. Not impressed with them at all. Sorry. Y'all get mad at me, but it's just the way that I feel. Damn quitting ass team. All right, Jackpot's been a good show, y'all. We'll see you guys later on.
Bye, guys.